The city of Bakersfield, California, is being ordered to reform its police force. California's Attorney General Rob Bonta made the announcement and ran down a list of problems uncovered in an investigation into Bakerfield's police department.
We allege that the Bakersfield Police Department's conduct resulted in, among other actions, unreasonable use of force, unreasonable stops, searches, arrests, and seizures, the use of unreasonable deadly force against those with mental health disabilities, the failure to provide meaningful access to police services to individuals with limited English proficiency, the failure to provide equal employment opportunities, the failure to adequately address civilian complaints, and the lack of a comprehensive community policing program.
The result of the investigation, the California Department of Justice has entered into what's called a stipulated judgment with the city of Bakersfield and the police department, outlining a long list of specific steps needed to make change. Back with me once again, BNC legal contributor and veteran prosecutor Paul Henderson, who's also the director of San Francisco's Department of Police Accountability. Paul, we know what this investigation into the Bakersfield Police Department, that it happened, but what prompted the investigation?
Well, what prompted it was two things. One, there was bad behavior, and this settlement is both historic and groundbreaking, both in the scope of what they were examining and what they looked at. And again, I want to point out, specifically looking at race disparities, and it's also groundbreaking in terms of the remedies that have been offered. But part of the reason why this is historic and why we're talking about this behavior specifically is because there's been a vacuum at the federal level over the past few years, and a lot of these pattern and practice types of investigations weren't taking place with the former administration and their Department of Justice. And so the fact that that vacuum is being filled by states that are being proactive and progressive is significant, and this is a big deal that this Attorney General is making the statements and this resolution in the way that he is, that is so intentional and direct about reforming policing for this city.
Paul, explain how a stipulated judgment works.
Well, here's what happens. And so when you have an agreement like this, what the Attorney General will do is come to an agreement and basically resolve the case. And so the case is resolved with this county agreeing to the stipulations that are outlined by the Attorney General. So the Attorney General would have been the one that would have been moving forward with the case. And in part, this case was resolved because the city leaders advised the other city officials to accept the stipulation rather than fight what they presumed to be a losing case, which would have opened them up to more and broader liability, as well as possibly the same result if they if the city lost the judgment against them, and or if the federal government came in and took over, which would have done probably the same thing or a similar outcome with an independent monitor. And so that's why this is sort of unique that they entered into this willingly, and I say willingly in air quotes because there was so much information that came out in Bakersfield about that investigation over the past few years. And, for me, some of the things that stood out were, like, over the past 4 years, they've had 31 people that have had 45 bones that were broken by this police department. And in each and every one of those investigations, that the department found that there was no wrongdoing from the department. And the reason that I think that, and I'm talking about those instances in particular, is because we have to break out the distinction between what is reform and what is accountability. And they're two separate things. I think that this investigation and this resolution and stipulation addresses both of those lanes, and that's why I think it's so important.
Now, the AG says Bakersfield has already made a few changes, including outfitting officers with body cameras, but he says the agreement includes a 5-year plan with a long list of other changes.
Absolutely, and those changes are just as important. So the fact that you have body-worn cameras, that's a good start, but we have to look to the bigger picture of what is your policy about those body-worn cameras? How are you required to keep those body cameras on when you're engaging with someone? What is the release structure that you have for those body-worn cameras? Will there be civilian oversight to investigate and look at those body-worn cameras? There's all of these things that go along with that first step. But the bigger issue is looking at the steps that had not been taken in the past, like this resolution calls for a revision for use of force. That's extremely important. And one of the things that reminds us why this is so important is that 2/3 of most law enforcement agencies have not revised their use of force policy in decades. And San Francisco is one of the cities that has revised its use of force policies. And the reason that you have to do that is because there's so many things that you get by an adoptive admission by not having use of force policies updated. You have things like shooting at cars. You have things like using neck restraint techniques that we saw in George Floyd. You have things going on like no-knock warrants that we saw with Breonna Taylor. All of these things that are no longer reflect best practices, and more importantly, they reflect race-disparate outcomes across the board in a lot of jurisdictions. And so when we have a settlement like this that outlines and stipulates what steps need to be taken, and by the way, this settlement and this stipulation also included a mandate for that department to address bias, very important. A mandate for them to address diversity within the department, very important. These are all important things when we talk about both reform and accountability that we need to have at the table. And so this is a model that other counties can use in California. It's a model that other departments can use outside of California. And that's why I think so many people are paying attention to what happened in this city and learning that there's a pathway to address inconsistencies and race disparities in law enforcement and in policing, that there's a solution. We don't have to accept that as part of what policing can be. And that's why I think this is important. It should be important to a lot of other cities and other folks that have these same concerns that you and I share and have been talking about.
How do you feel about the police chief, Greg Terry? He agreed to the 5 years of oversight with this stipulation, but he also said that they believe the reason why he agreed to it is because they believe that the state's concerns are unfounded and we have nothing to hide. When you believe that the findings of this investigation were unfounded, can there really be reform?
Well, what you believe and what you do clearly are two separate things. Now, what you believed also was that none of those people that had all of those broken bones had any accountability from that same department. What you believed is that you never took the initiative to change your use of force policy that had race disparate outcomes. These are just facts that are proven in the evidence that gets collected in California because of the 96A report that we've had here for years. So I'm less concerned with what these individuals may believe, and I'm more concerned with what they are now forced to do in order to reform the department and how they will be held accountable to the community in Bakersfield, especially the race disparate outcomes that are associated with some of the policing that we know has taken place with their use of force. I was concerned about those comments. They were not reflective of a department that was leaning into reform. And I believe it's part of the reason why there will be an independent monitor put over this department to make sure that those changes take place and that they're moving in the right direction.
All right, BNC legal contributor and veteran prosecutor Paul Henderson, thank you as always for your expertise. More Making the Case when we return.